Hey guys, welcome back. And last time on Total Drama World Tour Simulator is that we were in Japan. That's right, and the teams had to do pinballs, and then of course Japan commercial, and it was Team Amazon who won twice in a row and did well done by staying in first place. And as in from Team Victory had to send someone home last time, and it was Rosie who got voted off and was sending home. And I have to say again, I have to say that in fact, on the other hand, that someone is going to host the Aftermath show, which will be known for now. If I would and will say who that can be, and speaking about that now, is will Team Amazon kick some more butt kicking again on the other teams? Or should I say on the others? And won't fall back behind? Or will Team Chris is really freaking doopy hot? Uses another strong move and can shock us ahead? Or can Team the Nancy Drew catchers ever get to have another teammate to fully not backstab in the back of another? And will Team No Fear Savages starts to make a tricky and full out bold move like Alejandro's Evil Lies to the other teams? And can we ever see if the squad of the professionals does not lose another person today? That might lead with only 4 people down, and they're still staying lucky by other means. And then, for last, is Team Victory, and can they not trying to lose again like in Japan? And got to say, we will and might get to the questions in store in here to begin. So, here we are now in with Total Drama World Tour Simulator. Enjoy the show, everybody. Thank you, and again, enjoy the show. Speaking of that, hey, chef, can you give me some cocoa? Sure thing, buddy. I'll get you some cocoa, just in case. Thanks, Chef. You're welcome again, Chris. And looks like, as in for Chef, he went to get me some cocoa. And, well, pretty much the plane is in auto mode. Few minutes later, here's your cocoa that you asked for. And pretty much, as in for Chef, hands me the cocoa. Don't mind if I do. Meanwhile, with the other teams in the plane so far. And also, meanwhile, that most of the teams considers to stay in that Team Amazon and also Team Chris is really hot stays in first class. And of course, the Nancy Drew catchers and of course No Fear Savages stays in the Chris McClain movie theater set. And then of course the last two is the squad of the professionals, and Team Victory stays in the back of the plane. Well, of course, that meanwhile with Team Victory in the back of the plane. Well, of course, most likely some others are doing pretty likely, but so far Courtney still kind of blames Beth for the pinball incident in Japan. Which, oh my goodness, looks like so far we're going to still yet again continue to see where all that leads. And so far as in for Danny, man, he pretty much was commenting about the back of the plane, which is pretty true actually, which stays pretty true. And as in for Goth Boy and DJ, we're pretty much the only ones figuring out to see who are going to probably get to the finish line again. And since for that, well, they were figuring out about strategies. So far by saying is, however, that keeps on the continuing on the talking, so yeah, you guys can might as well pause the entire video while you guys can read the script exactly from while that was going. So yeah, there's pretty much the script. And say, meanwhile with the squad of the professionals in the back of the plane as well from the last team. And so far, Gwen and Owen and Tyra and Izzy were both agreeing that they liked Gwen's idea, but so far no one else didn't agree with Heather since, oh yeah, the rivalry still must continue and always yet again to continue right back at it. So, yep, still yet again continues. And so far, Heather leaves. So far, went to another spot anyway. Well, pretty much the squad of the professionals remains to still keep on their balance, to not lose another teammate behind. And so far, meanwhile, with no savages, that remains to be so. And so far, Adam was liking the movies. And as in for him, he pretty much would want to still go see the movie someday whenever he gets back home at some point. And then Alejandro is convincing him to be in the alliance, which, Alejandro. Yep, the sneaky devil of a Spanish dude himself is definitely getting Adam to join his alliance. But so far, things remain to stay pretty tipped. So far, while things continue on moving ahead. And meanwhile, with the Nancy Drew catchers, and so far, Trent and Josh were definitely talking to each other about who should vote off who for whatever's going to happen this time. But so far, pretty much as if for Trent and Josh were commenting about Duncan exactly, which exactly they pretty much both likely had something less likely to talk about anyway, since Josh pretty much doesn't care for the rest of anybody else. He pretty much remains to still be the same villain as Alejandro, but remains more slightly different than Alejandro is and even more evil than Duncan is. A little bit morbid evil. But anyway, the moral of the story is continue right on the head of the road and for a lot more questions yet again moving. And so far, meanwhile, with Chris is really, really, really high. And so far, Jeff and Noah were feeling pretty likely a bit relaxed. And so far, Noah was asking Jeff a question about Bridget. And so far, Jeff, on the other hand, was pretty much saying that they're doing so good in their relationship so far to keep on going, which is pretty slightly good move for them anyway. And then meanwhile, with the rest continues to keep on talking to each other, and meanwhile, with Team Amazon in first class, well, pretty much Lindsay and Sally were definitely getting along with each other as a little bit besties, which she pretty much is not likely to make jealous a little bit about Beth, but so far, Beth, on the other hand, is on the other side of the plane, which Lindsay probably won't see Beth for a little bit of while until the end of the challenge, or likely at the end of this episode. So, now then, continue like always. And so far, Sierra still has the same obsessity with pretty much with Cody, with the same absurdity. But anyway, more likely else, Harold, on the other hand, was knowing what was going on with Sierra, since Harold was likely to keep things on track without him being eliminated off by his own teammates. Meanwhile, with Duncan, man, I'm sure loving first class, which I can get used to it and I got to think who I should vote for if Team Amazon loses. And the only thing I can pick with 1-1 person going home, and I think that I'm going to think that it would be is Harold or Sierra. And then again, I should just keep one person in the game if I need to pick after that. And I'm going to vote off for Sierra because she's gross and sick Cody fan that wants to be one of these stalkers, not stallers, stalkers. Meant to say stalkers. Yep, stalker fans, which is weird and creepy. So I guess she will be sent home and then keeping Harold until she's out. Anyways, wonder where we are going to land at somewhere. Meanwhile, back with me and Chef. So you go ahead and tell them about where are we going to land, Chris. Yep, right on it, Chef. And it's going to be super fun and chillin', if you know what I mean. Or if you know what I would say. Yeah, I do, Chris. And you know what you mean by that, too. Meanwhile, with me going back to the plane and to see the squad of the professionals in Team Victory to tell them about the next destination. So, the place that we are about to head to is the Yukon, like very cold place. In, of course, in Oklahoma, which is not even close, but a little bit more than the snow side of the world of Oklahoma, and a little bit of the Yukon in the world. Only when it's in the winter time to freeze in the ice. And I mean, nobody should not freeze in so. Anyways, hit it, chef. And then, as in for chef, he makes the plane go up, and everyone starts screaming. Ah! Well, everyone wearing their seatbelts. Good evening. This is your captain speaking. We are dealing with some bumpy things down below, and hold on to something because we are about to crash over. Now this I'm enjoying the show now. Meanwhile, after the plane crashed, and everyone got out the plane and went to Chris where at the starting line is at. Alright. Again, welcome to the Yukon, everyone. So, this challenge is about you and your whole team making it to the finish line at the end of the other side with your sleds. And it's the icicle of Deadly! And the first thing you might need to do is jump across the water chasm to ice floe to ice floe. And again, you will get coats until like weeks to be here soon. So don't worry about that. Anyways, so don't worry about that too. And will move or run as you can by pulling the sled all the way to the crossing line. Or should I say at this point that your team has to make it to get to the dog sleds and will definitely grab the rest of your team to the finish line and will win and gets to be safe tonight and will be back in first class and then my movie theater set and finally back in the plane again of losers. So that's where pretty much likely the 5th and 6th place team will end up. And the 4th and 3rd place team will end up in my movie theater set. And then the 2nd and 1st place team will end up in my first class. Or should I say in this case, just first class. Anyways, that's all you guys have to do for now. So again, whoever wins for sure and will get invincibility. And anything could happen in possibility and will end up in an elimination. Anyways, go! Everyone starts to move and go and get past the water chasms without getting cold in the water. And meanwhile, after that, the other teams passed the water chasm and did not fell in the water. So, will any of the teams ever win?